I'm here to introduce Los Ellis. So now a little bit about him. Los Ellis resides in sunny Austin, Texas, where he is a mentor, uncle, and adoptive parent to his nephew Kendrick. Los's commitment to personal and community development is a testament to his devotion of education and community upliftment. His charitable and volunteer commitment extends from his work as a lead team member of the Texas Mobile Loaves and Fishes team, which provides meals, clothing, and living supplies to Texas's homeless and underserviced population. He also serves as a sign language interpreter for many of Austin's homeless residents. Lowe's is also a volunteer of the Lance Armstrong Foundation, Live Strong, where he donates his time to help cancer survivors. Lowe's is a life member of the esteemed professional business fraternity, Delta Sigma Pi, and served as one of the 5 elected provincial vice presidents from 2009 to 2012 for chapters in Texas, Oklahoma, Louisiana, Arkansas, Kansas, and Missouri. Los also served on the Delta Sigma Pi National Board of Directors 2009 through 2012, helping to shape, direct, and enhance the leadership goals and direction of the organization. As one of the 5 founding partners and director for DSPstartup.com, Los facilitates and nurtures the creation of small business ideas and serves as an incubation venture capitalist that supports capital infusion to aspiring business entrepreneurs. Los Ellis graduated from the University of Oklahoma's Michael F. Price College of Businesses, where he was one of the founders and creators of the Sooner Information Network, the University of Oklahoma's first student web portal and information center. He also served as a College of Business student business student leadership president and the president of his fraternity, Delta Sigma Pi. Los has received multiple honorariums and awards for his creative and energizing contributions to education and holds multiple certifications from accredited universities around the country. Los has an extensive professional career in information technology and project management. He managed 1/4 of Dell Inc.'s global IT portfolios for more than 2 years while in Dell's CIO office. He currently works in the state of Texas and the U.S. government concerning their mutual information and technology interests. Los travels as a professional motivational speaker to many of the country's best colleges and universities. His ability to deliver powerful motivational and economical performances has propelled him to the top of the speakers list in Texas, Oklahoma, Louisiana, and beyond. Los delivers an inspirational message coupled with current and coveted knowledge of the business world, which rivals the best resources published and recorded. As a professional speaker and career coach to many future and current business leaders, Los is a must-have resource for anyone serious about surviving and winning in the business world today. Thank you.
You know, it's always humbling to hear people say things about you, and I think that was the first time I heard that quite a few times, but not like that. So you almost made me cry. But today is not about me. Today is about you. Today is about our children. So what I want to do today is I want to tell you a little bit about me and my background, because I think in order for me to be able to share information with you that's going to be helpful, you've got to know where it comes from, right? So, like that warm introduction said, I am an adoptive parent to my nephew, and you know, I remember growing up in my family. My parents wanted to have a boy so bad, that they went and they had a baby girl, another baby girl, another baby girl, another baby girl, another baby girl, and this would go on until they had 9 daughters. My mother was not going to give up. Well, my dad didn't either, but but they had 9 girls, and they tried again, and they got 2 baby boys. I turned out to be the most ugly of the 2. But they tried once again and got another daughter. So my family was of 12 children. I had 10 sisters, 1 brother. So I understand the challenge of being raised in a family with minimal resources. Because even if my parents made $1 million, we were still going to be poor because my brother ate a lot. But after that, I went on to college. My parents did what they needed to do to get us to college, and I went to college, and I realized that some of us, while we all work hard, we all aren't afforded the same rewards in life. And so one of my sisters had a challenge, and she had a son with 2 daughters, but she couldn't keep all 3 like she wanted. And so I took on a challenge that summer after my first or second year in college, and he came to stay for a summer, and then it went on to be, let's try it out for the school year. And then the next year, instead of getting a ticket to send him back home, I actually got some papers from the court saying, hey, would you sign these to adopt him? And so I took that on. And so I tell you this story because I understand your challenges as a parent. I understand the challenges as a single parent. And I understand the challenges that you all face having to work a job, go to college, and still succeed while keeping in mind the needs to help your children succeed. Now, I can't tell you I did it right from the beginning. You see, in the beginning, I thought you just put a kid on a bus and they went to school and they did their work because that's what I did, right? You know, I thought that if he needed help, someone was always going to be there to help him and give him exactly what he needed. That was going to give him that one-on-one attention. Well, it doesn't work that way. It just doesn't work that way. You see, I realized that my nephew, he became what we call a gradual C+ student. I can guarantee he'll get a C, and every once in a while he might get a B. But when I started thinking about his future, I realized that C's weren't going to cut it. Not in a world where everyone was advancing and technology was getting better, where kids were using cell phones and playing games when I was at that age, I was fixing puzzles and coloring within the lines. He was going to have to be prepared. So I realized that I needed to make an active approach. So what I did was I said, let me go to the school and let me ask for help. Because see, I didn't have the luxury of going back to my sister or going back home to my mother because see, they lived in New York. And see, at this time, he and I lived in Boston. And we were preparing to finish college and move and go to Oklahoma. So we were getting further away. So I went to the school and I said, what can I do different? And I got lucky. I had 6 of his 7 teachers pull me aside and said, thank you for taking that approach. And they gave me some tips, and I want to share some of those tips with you today. But I want to say before we get to the tips, I want to state 2 facts that I've learned. The first fact that I learned while being a parent and going through this process was that every parent, regardless of background, income, culture, where you live, every parent wants the best for their child. Every parent wants their children to have everything that's available to them for their child to succeed. That's fact number 1. Fact number 2 says that every student that receives help from his parents, whether it's at home or at the school, will show improvement. You see, I looked over some statistics at Pew, and Pew kind of helped me validate this. Pew said that for every parent that reaches out to help their child at home and attends at least 1 or 2 school functions, that child is 30% more likely to go to college. That child is 20% more likely to be able to deal with ambiguity and differences of lifestyle and opinions. They say that child is more likely to attend school more regularly, and they're more likely to get passing grades, which means they're more likely to be the productive citizens that we're all teaching our children to be. Now think about what I just said. I didn't ask you to come to school to commit to like 2 weeks of PTA. What I asked you to do is, statistics says, show up at least twice. Twice. Now I know it's difficult. I know some of us in here are probably single parents. You know, you go to work every day, you come home, and when you get done, you still got to make dinner. You still got to look over homework. Perhaps if you got an HOA like mine, you got to mow the grass every day so you don't get a fine. But you have things to do. You have church involvement. Some of you probably take on the idea of taking on helping your parents, in their more senior years. But you have a whole slew of things to do, and you still have to find time to go to sleep and wake up and do it again. You see? Because I know for most of us, today is the only day we get to wake up late, right? Saturday is our only day. We're like, man, they started this stuff at 9 o'clock. But that's the only day, because Sunday we get up and we do it again. We do it at church. We start all day and we devote. But Saturday is our only day. But we realize that we want so much for our kids, but we don't have a whole lot of time. So what I learned was that money wasn't my currency anymore when I was a parent. My currency was my time, because that's how you pay for everything when you have children, with your time. You can have all the money in the world. You can have all the money in the world, but it don't equate to positive education or positive outcome for your kids. Now, with that currency, my time, I realized that there were some things that I could do. Now, I couldn't afford to go to the school during the school day. And I know that's a challenge for most of us in here today. Some of us work 7 to 5 or 7 to 9, or we work 12-hour shifts. But we can still be active. You see, I had that same challenge. I would go to school at 8 in the morning, and I would get done and get off campus around 2. Then I would go work from 2 to 7. Then I'd come home, help him with his homework. And at 10 o'clock, I'd be back working another job. Now, within that time, I had things I could do. And I want to share with you about 5 things that you can do if you are challenged and your currency, your time currency, isn't really stacked up in a full amount. How many of us in here today work normal 8 to 5 hours? Just show of hands. How many of us work the late shift where we can't be home in the after hours with our children? Right? So everyone has that challenge of having a job. So taking it back to my nephew, I realized that he was a C+ student, right? C+ with maybe 1B. Now, I'm going to take this mic for a minute, because I want to move around, because I want all of y'all to understand and feel this. Because he was a C+ student, and I said he was not going to be a C+ student, not in my house. Not in my house. I didn't think it was fair. If I got to college, he was going to college too. And it was my job to get him there. So I realized that I could do 2 things right away. I sat down that night and I wrote a note. I wrote a note and I said, here are the goals I got for my child. I had 2 goals for him. One, that he would be a productive citizen and he would learn to not act up. Now, I know that's not the school job, but realize he spends 6 hours of his days at school. He spends more time at school than he does anywhere else other than asleep. So I wrote down, that's the first thing I wanted. But the second thing I wanted for my child was I wanted my child to be college ready. And I said, here are how I'm going to get to those goals. I want him to be able to read proficiently. I want him to be able to take good tests. And I need him to understand what technology looks like tomorrow. Now, I wrote these things down, and while these may be simple things, if you write these things down and do what I did and hand those to the teachers, you've given the teachers a goal. First of all, you started to participate in the education of your child, right? But second, what you've done was you've given the teachers the tools to say, here is what I expect from my child. Now, you know what happens after that? The teacher will write you back, or they'll call you back and they'll say, hey, here's what we do at the school. And now we got what you want, your expectations, and what the school provides. Now, all we got to do is bridge those 2 gaps. You know what I got from that? Now, when my child came home and he said, oh, I don't have a whole lot of homework, I said, that's okay, because I know this is what the teacher got for you, and here's what I want you to do. And so, even though he was a little resistant, I can tell you it took 2 quarters. 2 quarters for him. Some of your kids may not take 2 quarters, but 2 quarters he went to a lot of B's and 1 C. He just wasn't going to do good in science. He always told me, he said, they start fires, but no. But he went to all B's and 1 C, and I was happy with that. Now, that partnership continued on. I realized, I said, man, if I could just do those things and he got B's, what can we do to help him get to be an A student? What can I do to get him to be that kid that learns and wants to learn? So what I did was I took another step. I said, same ladies you saw here earlier, just like them, PTA, I think they called it PTO back then. I'm dating myself a little bit, but I went to the PTO and I said, now let's talk about what the school has in store, because the PTO helped me understand where the school was going, where the education system was going in the future. what they were asking for to help keep our kids on top of technology. And I said, well, I saw a little bit more movement. And then I realized that he liked some things. See, my nephew was a comedian. He made everything into a joke, everything into a joke. Now, see, as parents, we got to know what our kids are good at. Some of our kids are funny. Some of our kids are very serious. Some of them, our kids have their own lifestyle. Now, what we can do is leverage how that works. See, for him, he was a comedian. And see, what I started doing was, anytime they would do any event at school that I could get to, I would go to that event. I know he liked to cut up when they do little skits and dramas, so I would show up. You know what it did? It got me my first goal. Me actively being at the school got me my first goal, because now he didn't know when I was going to show up. Yeah, y'all remember that, right? If you don't know when your parents going to show up, you all scared, you're following stuff, you're not passing notes no more, right? But he did that. He was like, Uncle, you going to show up today? Nah, I'm not going to show up, but I got an early lunch. But it helped. Now I went from a kid that was making all C's with an occasional B. Now I got him making on average, about 1 or 2 A's, a lot of B's, and he get a C every once in a while. Now see, that's something I can live with. I don't know about you, but I can live with that. I tell my son, my nephew every day, I tell him when he was in school, I said, I don't need you to make all A's, but I need you to try to make A's. I don't need you to be the best, but I need you to give your best. So let me give you about 5 things you can do to help partner with your school to help get that same level of success. Can I do that? Okay. First and foremost, I want you all to go home and do exactly what I did. Write that note. Just write down the 1 or 2 goals you got for your children, whatever your goals are. Because teachers can't help your students if they don't know what your goals are. Everyone's goal is going to be a little bit different. Write those down and send them with your kids. And then 2, talk with your children about the goals you have for them, because they may have the same goals you have, right? Now, 2, what I need you to do is, after you've done that with the school, I need you to go and I need you to use the resources that's available with the schools. Almost every ISD I've looked at in Texas has a website, and they do a good job of posting grades and what kind of work comes up. Look at those things. And I want you, when your kid comes home, ask your children about those assignments. Ask your children about those events. Get them to participate in some of those events a little more. Ask them about the homework. Now, those are the things you can do at home, right? Now, I don't need to say that you need to sit down and possibly read with them, because we know that every time we read with our children are no longer as shy. They become more confident, and they feel validated. You see, as a child with me, I remember in school, when I had to read out loud, I felt ashamed. I could read, didn't really like it. But see, I noticed with my nephew, when he read with me, he felt confident, so that now when he reads in public, he's okay with it. So read with your children. But there's some things you can do with the school, because see, you have a homework assignment tonight to go and write this for your children, but you also have a commitment to the community, to the school, to partner with the educators, to partner with the teachers that your children sit in the class with every day. You see, that teacher has 30, sometimes 40 students that she has to understand. And if she has that note, understanding what your goals are, she can better help align that child to succeed. Now, there's other ways, because some of you, after you do that, you want more involvement. Now, the school does great things with fundraisers. Now, some people say, I don't want to go raise money. I don't want to volunteer for stuff, because if I volunteer for the PTA today, they might make me the president tomorrow, right? But see, one of the things I learned was that the educators have a great way of cutting big things like that down into small assignments. So go and go and volunteer, but come with the idea and let them know, say, hey, I'm the parent of Jarrell McCullough, and you ain't even listening. I'm the parent of Jarrell McCullough, and I only have 1 hour I can devote every year. 1 hour. Can you help me participate for that 1 hour in an event that will take 1 hour? You see, you've got one of the 2 visits you need done right there. Now, we all got kids that play sports. Some of us, at some point, our kids are going to play basketball. They're going to be cheerleaders. Show up at those events, because I tell you what I noticed too. My nephew played basketball. Now, by the time he got to high school, he played for a school called Stony Point. Now, Stony Point was good, but you know what? He sat the bench. So when he sat the bench, He knew I was still watching him. So he had that integrity. He knew that every time if he did something wrong and I saw him at that event and he wasn't acting right, he wasn't going to play no more. Now, I didn't want to take that from him because I knew it was his goal to go to college and play college basketball. But the education came first. So I say, that's the other thing you can do. Be available at your children's event if you can. I know we're tired, but you know what? You don't have to stay for the whole game. Show up, say hi to the teachers, say hi to just your child, because your presence here tells your child that it's important. It says that it means something to you. You can also help out, and I'm going to stress this one really, really big. Help out with the small things, like the yearbook committees, when they have holiday parties. Those mean the most, because to a child in school, that's fun time. That's the fun time. Those are the things they're going to remember, the things they got a chance to work on that they can see their names documented. They got to hang out with other kids. Show up. Like I said, you don't have to be there for 2 hours. Show up for 30 minutes. Pop your head in on the way from work and go on home. And say, hey, I was there. It makes a difference. Now, I'm going to quote a song that I always kept in the back of my head when I was raising my nephew. Now, I'm dating myself here, but if you know, there's a lady named Whitney Houston. She had a song called The Greatest Love of All. And the opening 2 lines said it all. She says, I believe the children are the future. Teach them well and let them lead the way. But we know our kids can't lead unless we prepare them to be leaders. And in order to be leaders, we've got to partner with the schools. We've got to partner with the PTAs, the volunteer organizations. We've got to partner with the people you see around the room today. The fire departments, the police department, the anti-drinking, all of those things. We got to partner with our community as a whole. And when we do that, we've done a couple things. We've reached those goals we have for our children. We've alleviated and helped the school with some of the frustrating of getting our kids prepared to be competitors in the real world. And in 3, we've gotten our kids acclimated to a world where they believe that they matter and that they can be productive. Now, I'll leave you with this. As a single parent, we're all going to be challenged. As a 2-parent household, we're all going to be challenged. And remember, we said up front that every parent, regardless of background, age, culture, where you live, we all want the best for our kids. And so each of you have taken a great step today in showing up to say, on your only day where you could have slept in, you came out. Now, you came out to take a stance for your children's education. So I want you to do me a favor. When you leave tonight, after you talk, you mingle with everyone today, I want you to leave tonight. I want you to go home and I want you to sit down and I want you to write that list that we talked about 20 minutes ago. I want you to write down what your goals are for your child. Just 1 or 2 goals will be fine. 1 or 2 goals. And I want you to take a pledge today. All of you today, take a pledge to say that when I walk out of here, I'm going to go do that sometime today. And on Monday morning, I'm going to email it or I'm going to put it in the mail and send it to my child's student so that we're on the same page to know what success looks like in the end for our students. Can I get you all the pledge of that? Well, I like that. I like that. Now, before I go, I do want to give one distinctive kudos. I just can't get over how well the young lady who got up here earlier spoke. And you know, that's a great involvement, because I can tell you right now, that's the first sign of great family involvement, because I got a chance to meet her father, and the little young brother. And I looked and I said, that's what this is about today, about having parent involvement with the child. And she may not know it right now, but this is going to be a day that she's going to remember for a long time. Not because she got up here and did a wonderful speech, but because she had a chance to see education, not only with the school, but with her parent involvement. And the little one, he don't even know it yet, but he groomed for success. You're going to have a sister that's going to make it hard for you to achieve, man. So I want us all to be able to take that back with us now. Before we go, I want to do one last fun thing, because I think everything that people do is always get on how they feel, right? Maya Angelou said it best, right? She says, people will forget what you did to them. They'll forget what you said to them, but they will never, I repeat, they will never forget how you made them feel. So I want you all to leave here today with a great feeling before you go out and you mingle with all the other community involvements and the community leaders with the schools. I want you to do me a favor. I want you to just look at somebody. Just look somebody in the eye. Anybody except me. It's your neighbor. Go ahead. This community involvement. Just look at them real quick. Look at them. make eye contact, and I want you to trust me right now, because I always tell people I want to start a rumor. I'm gonna start a rumor today, and you're gonna help me. So I want you to look somebody in the eye right now, and I want you to repeat after me. I want you to say, I know. Come on, Austin. Yeah, let's do this louder. We supposed to be pepped up. Say, I know. And to be active mentors and role models for their children and their children's advancement in education. And with me is a very special guest today. Would you like to introduce yourself?
Hi, I'm Mariah Smith. I go to Small Middle School. I'm in the 6th grade, and I had a lot of fun introducing you. I've been having a really good time.
That's great. Well, we thank you for attending this event, and we hope to see you at the next event next year.